Trump also told supporters that if he's elected, he will focus on anti-white racism. Thank God. My people have suffered long enough. Sorry, Che, but time's up.
In a lawsuit against Ye, a former employee claims that Ye compared himself to Hitler minus the gas chambers. And I, for one, am shocked to hear that Ye believes in the Holocaust.
Former president and current reverse mortgage applicant Colin criticized Biden's speech, saying the words are not flowing smoothly out of his mouth. Well, we can't all speak with the same effortless grace as Donald J. Trump.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
It sounds like someone just inserted a colonoscopy camera. A United Airlines flight from Germany was forced to return to the airport after the toilet broke and leaked into the cabin. Though it's the perfect punishment for people who take their shoes off on planes. Primate expert Jane Goodall celebrated her 90th birthday by gathering together with 90 dogs, then feeding them all to her apes. Pro-Palestinian protesters walked out of Jerry Seinfeld's commencement address at Duke University, and I think that's disgraceful. During these difficult times, it's important to support our Jewish friends. That's why the only chant you'll hear from me is "Free Weinstein."
A doctor from Singapore has gone viral with a video telling people that they can get relief from constipation by sitting on the toilet cross-legged. So that's what they mean when they say crisscross applesauce. I get it now.
Oh, no.
Pope Francis said this week that sexual pleasure is a gift from God. Unfortunately, it was in response to the question, should the church still have altar boys? During a campaign event marking the start of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, President Biden criticized Japan as being xenophobic, which is crazy because why would the Japanese be scared of foreigners? Oh my God, Drake just dropped another diss record, guys. I'm just kidding. I just say that when I bomb. Speaking of kids, new data shows that middle school students have only made up a third of the math skills they lost during the pandemic. Their math was so bad they didn't get it when I texted them, "You plus me equals 69." Colin, wow, okay.
Wow. Hey, you put it in text.
A man in Missouri is planning to turn an abandoned jail into an Airbnb rental, which will make it the first jail that refuses to accept black people. It was announced that Puerto Rico's only zoo is closing after years of alleged animal neglect. Worse, the zoo is closing. It's being advertised as all you can eat. Multiple women have posted videos on TikTok claiming that while walking the streets of New York, they were randomly punched by men. Well then, damn, get the hell out of my way, bitch. And speaking of bitches, I want to call out the biggest bitch of all, Kendrick Lamar. Vice President Kamala Harris praised Beyonce for her new country album, saying that she has reclaimed country music's black roots. I'm sorry, Hootie? No love for Hootie? Oh.
At a White House ceremony honoring the WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces, President Biden mistakenly called player Candace Parker one of the greatest all-time coaches. Worse, he thought this woman was their point guard.
Mitch McConnell officially endorsed Donald Trump for president because despite their differences, they actually go way back. Donald Trump endorsed Mark Robinson for North Carolina governor, calling Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids. Not to be confused with Martin Luther King on Ozempic. You go again, Colin. I don't.
The FCC is preparing to criminalize unsolicited robocalls that use AI to impersonate politicians. But you can still impersonate Ted Cruz by shaving a sloth's face.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who revealed this week that he had a parasitic brainworm, posted on X, "I offered to eat 5 more brainworms and still beat President Trump and President Biden in a debate," which is such an insane thing to probably be right about.
During an interview, Elon Musk, who looked like the ghost of a guy who died in a 1950s drag race, was asked if he was anti-Semitic and said that he was in fact philo-Semitic. You know, another answer would be no.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You're evil!
Plans to come to New York on Tuesday to protest Trump's indictment because apparently it takes her 3 days to put on her Joker makeup. No, they'll probably laugh at this next one.
The meanest thing you've ever done. I'm covered in sweat. Marjorie Taylor Greene, seen here dressed for her shift at TGI Crazies, was questioned by a reporter about her Jewish space lasers conspiracy theory, and Greene responded like this.
Tell us about Jewish space
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers, and really, why don't you off?
Wow. Even more shocking, look what happens a little later in the video.
Really, why don't you off? How about that?
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene revealed that her husband has filed for divorce after 27 years of marriage. He officially blamed irreconcilable differences for the split, while she blamed the Jews.
Well, guys, it's 2024, but is it? I don't know about you, but when I think of the year 2020, I never think, we should run that one back.
Yesterday, President Biden released a new video with Barack Obama in which they remind people that Obamacare is still available, but according to polls, people really want to know if Obama is still available. Melania Trump made a rare public appearance when she attended the funeral of former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who died at the age of 96. Melania said that she was deeply saddened to be reminded that your partner can live that long.
And if you're feeling confused, you're not the only one. At a rally on Thursday, President Biden said he was mixed up when he claimed he had just taken a photo with a woman who wasn't even there. Then the next day, Donald Trump repeatedly confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. Guys, I don't know if we should do this election. It's honestly starting to feel like elder abuse.
If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a sentence. House Speaker Mike Johnson said that he is blurring the faces on the footage of January 6 rioters so that none of them would be charged with a crime. So unfortunately, we'll never know who they are.
I don't even blame them. I blame us for allowing it. It reminds me of those bum fight videos where they made 2 homeless guys fight for money. And now we look back on it and we're like, how did we as a society let that happen? So I think the best solution is we should just tell Trump and Biden that they both won. And that we're very proud of them. And that they can rest now.
Nikki Haley received an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, which would be helpful if anyone knew who that was. A new report shows that for the first time, the majority of billionaires last year received their fortunes through family inheritance. And not to brag, but I inherited my family's learning disabilities. In Monday's Iowa caucuses, Ron DeSantis beat out Nikki Haley for second place. Well, that ought to put whatever this is on his face. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who looks like someone drew Ving Rhames with their eyes closed, endorsed Donald Trump. But remember, most Trump supporters only count him as 3/5 of an endorsement. Oh, boy.
During an interview, Elon Musk, who looked like the ghost of a guy who died in a 1950s drag race, was asked if he was anti-Semitic and said that he was in fact philo-Semitic. You know, another answer would be no. Donald Trump urged his supporters to brave the sub-zero temperatures in Iowa to vote for him, saying, even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it. Voting for Trump and then passing away is also what happened with COVID.
Insiders are concerned that President Biden's chances for re-election could be damaged by his unwavering support for Israel. But I think the bigger problem for Biden is that he is 6 years older than Israel.
A public library in Alabama has flagged a children's picture book as potentially sexually explicit just because the author's last name is gay. Though, to be fair, the book is titled Gays Porn for Kids.
John Kerry announced that he is stepping down as the U.S. climate envoy and is expected to focus on President Biden's re-election campaign. And it's not a great sign that Biden's campaign is a bigger emergency than climate change. In an interview on Fox News, presidential candidate Nikki Haley said that America has, quote, never been a racist country. Because if Americans were so racist, why did they have sex with their slaves?
New York Mayor Eric Adams responded to allegations that he accepted illegal donations from Turkey, saying, I have not been accused of wrongdoing and I will continue to cooperate. Then he put on his fez and sped away on a flying carpet.
It was reported that the organizers of King Charles's coronation have officially invited Meghan Markle, and this is nice, at a starting salary of $19 an hour. It's very generous, guys.
Yeah. Donald Trump posted an image of Nikki Haley made up to look like Hillary Clinton. And honestly, I couldn't tell if it was bad Photoshop or a good picture of Mark Cuban in a wig. Pope Francis called for a ban on surrogate motherhood, which he says violates the dignity of the woman and the child. Plus, the Catholic Church doesn't want extra kids around while they're trying to quit.
The Supreme Court is addressing recent allegations of ethical lapses by adopting a new code of conduct, replacing their old code of conduct, money up front, no kissing on the mouth. Senator Tim Scott announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. With Scott gone, the most prominent black Republican is once again the Blacks for Trump guy. All right, whatever.
A new report finds that the average 50-year-old in America is worth over $1 million, while the average 30-year-old is worth more dead than alive.
Elton John won an Emmy for his farewell concert special, earning him a coveted EGOT, which is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Several major media companies, including NBC Universal, have pulled their advertising from Elon Musk's X over concerns that ads for their shows could appear next to pro-Nazi propaganda, which is a huge relief because I was definitely worried about where this was going to end up.
A new startup company is developing a male contraceptive that involves one injection that will prevent pregnancy for 10 years. So get ready for an exciting future of taking the man's word for it. He like that, good joke.
After new polls show Donald Trump leading Joe Biden, Democratic strategists are calling Biden's re-election campaign a five-alarm fire, which is scary for Biden because in a fire, you have to use the stairs. A Volvo crashed through the front of a Whole Foods in a Maryland suburb. It was an accident so white that everyone's insurance went down. A passenger on Spirit Airlines was arrested after he repeatedly asked female flight attendants to join the Mile High Club, even though Spirit's airplanes can't get above 300 feet.
A new app has been introduced called Wrapped that claims it can show Instagram users who is looking at their pictures. Uh-oh, said a bunch of high school teachers.
A new study is being conducted to explain why redheads seem to experience pain differently. Because they're all witches?
Tesla owners are complaining that during the sub-zero temperatures that swept through the country, they couldn't get their cars to charge. But on the plus side, they were able to stay warm in the battery fires. A man on a plane in India who was trapped in the bathroom for the whole flight says the crew slipped him a piece of paper reading "Do not panic." Then he slipped them a piece of paper back reading "More paper, please." An Indiana woman was arrested after she drove her car into a building because she thought it was a, quote, Israel school. Well, that's why they don't let women drive in the Middle East. You don't like it, or?
A new study suggests that men are better than women at using a map, while women are better at sitting silently for the rest of the car ride after you tell them that.
It was reported the inmate who attacked Derek Chauvin, the police officer who killed George Floyd, stabbed Chauvin 22 times, but Chauvin still wouldn't stop choking him. All right. New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses.
Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after it was struck by a cargo ship that was carrying, you won't believe it, Boeing airplanes. President Biden announced that he's raising tariffs on Chinese electric cars to 100%. Unfortunately, Chinese electric cars is just what Biden calls Mario Kart.
Iowa's Final Four game against UConn was the most watched women's college basketball game ever, with 14.2 million viewers, beating the previous record by 14.2 million viewers.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away.
A growing number of black men feel like the Trump and Biden campaigns are not actually trying to forge true relationships and just want their votes. Yeah. During a new interview with ABC News, Steve Bannon called himself the voice of MAGA and also the face of gout. Donald Trump said at a rally that he would make November 5th Christian Visibility Day. Wait, I thought that was called Ash Wednesday. The Florida Supreme Court has allowed the state's 6-week abortion ban to take effect. So now Florida's only remaining method for ending a pregnancy is roller coasters.
People in Paris with disabilities are saying that the city has not fulfilled its promise to make it universally accessible before this summer's Olympics. And officials admit they're having some safety issues with the new Eiffel Tower wheelchair ramp.
During a ceremony in Russia, Vladimir Putin was sworn in for his 5th term as president by placing his hand on the Russian Constitution, which is just a label on a bottle of vodka. President Biden said that the National Guard should not be called in to deal with campus protests, but I'm just happy that he's finally not sending military aid somewhere. The FAA revealed that Donald Trump's Boeing 757 clipped a parked plane when it landed in Florida. But the good news is Donald Trump flies around in a Boeing, so...
It was announced that actor Andy Serkis will star in and direct a new Lord of the Rings movie focusing on Gollum, and unfortunately, his Challenger-style relationship with Frodo and Sam. This year's most popular baby names for boys were Liam and Noah. Great. Another generation of pussies.
King Charles's official portrait is being criticized for depicting him on a harsh red background, but in the royal family, that's better than having a black background. I thought they'd like that, Colin.
It was also reported Friday that the U.S. economy added over 300,000 jobs. Unfortunately, most of them are bridge fixer.
Experts are saying that 2 different broods of cicadas will hatch this month, releasing trillions of cicadas into the U.S. And Biden is just letting them in.
Better you than me. A high-end fashion brand is selling a pair of jeans for $800, which appear to have a pee stain on the front. Jeans with a pee stain on the front? Please, I can make those in my sleep.
Online critics said the dress Kim Kardashian wore to the Met Gala had such a tight waist that it seemed like it was crushing her organs. But I already watched her organs get crushed by Ray J. I don't think that's going to make the show.
I think it did. I think someone screamed.
McDonald's is releasing a new grandma.